What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy. We've got Gary. We've got Musk. We are in the Feathers, as usual. It's on the bottom of Harris Drive on Hawthorne Road. It's our home of the pod, local boozer. And this weekend, they've got on Paul McKenna. He's on Friday. And you've got Jay Murray on Sunday. So get down and support your local boozer.
Jay Murray on Saturday.
Who did I say?
You said it's on Sunday.
Jay Murray Saturday, sorry. Massive thanks as
Jay
always. Oh no, sorry, Jay. Massive thanks as always to Hill Dickinson for sponsoring the podcast. Again, go back and watch their episode that they done on the naming rights of the stadium. Also, big one, as you will have saw last week, we have teamed up with Comaletics. We've already seen a few orders come in, so keep on using the code LEGIT30 for 30% off. Yeah, I'm rocking the gilet today.
Didn't give me that one, did you?
I give you gilets?
That was different colour, anyway.
Was it? Sorry, lad. I got the bet pick of the the little batch. But saying to Musk before we started, these t-shirts especially, you can wear them like obviously in the day, but also for the gym as well.
Yeah, the boss for the gym, like they're really breathable. But yeah,
I have been in the gym a bit more as well, but they are a bit. I like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they make your arms look better than what they are like.
Hoodies are nice as well.
Yeah, the hoodie's so warm, you know. So
I've had mine on most of the week, to be fair.
I'm really comfy hoodies that you just feel
snug fit, good.
Yeah, it's nice.
So you get 30% off Comaletics. Go and follow them on Instagram. Some really good game. Not just saying that, but to be honest, we've had things over the years. I'm sure you will have, Gary, where people ask to kind of sponsor the pod or to give you free stuff and say, "How can you wear that?" And I a lot of the time say no because it's shit, or I just don't want to partner up with someone. But proud to say that this is really good gear.
Yeah, and it's great that we've over the last couple of years we've had support, and a lot of it's from local brands, hasn't it? Obviously Red Run stuff we've helped, and again it's great that it's another scout who are helping out. Yeah,
and Gary came up with a good idea, so I want to say something in a minute which is in a way a little bit linked to this, but I've just had a pretty boozy summer. I know it's not summer anymore, but I feel like I've just been on the Aylaw on holiday since about May, and my fitness has just dropped off the side of the cliff. So Gary, the last few weeks, gets up a lot earlier than me and has been going to the gym, smashing a workout and then sending me the workout, and then I've been going to the gym later on the day, getting it in. So thank you, number one, for that. And he's also come up with an idea. So anyone who buys anything from Comaletics and types in LEGIT30, not only will you get 30% off, but if you then screenshot us your order, send it in to our Instagram on Legit, that'll go to Musk, and then we will then add you to a group, and then you, if you want to continue.
Yeah, we're calling it 6 workouts to Christmas. So as Andy says, I get in the gym early anyway, because it's the only time I can get a workout in. And it's a bit of added accountability for me, because I think Andy's relying on me sending in this workout and giving him a bit of inspiration. So I've been sending him my workout, giving him a bit of an idea of, okay, I've been doing this weight and this many reps and maybe aiming for a bit of a time. Andy then sends me his, and I'm like, oh yeah, gonna get him and try and beat that tomorrow. And it works for me. I'm like that. I'm very competitive, and Andy's similar. So as an idea, look, there's a lot of similar minds of people who watch the podcast anyway, different fitness levels, and that's what it's about. So we're calling it 6 workouts till Christmas. The idea is I won't design a workout. We've been even more fortunate to be supported by Power. So,
Cal.
Yeah, Callum and Holly.
Cal and Hog. By the way, Cal, when I told him about the paddle, Cal messaged me, so Cal does still listen to the pod, so nice one, Cal. And he said he'd forgive me, so yeah.
Fair enough, so Callum Webb and Holly Braithwaite.
Yeah.
That's right, isn't it? I'm glad I got that right. They've got a brand called Power. They have an online app. It's absolutely fantastic. It's for men, women, so it's completely inclusive, as Callum's clarified this week on social media. But yeah, Callum's going to give us access to the app. So what I'll be doing every Sunday is I'll be putting the workout that I'll be doing that week. I'll be aiming to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you just want to do it on Monday or you want to do it on Wednesday, that's absolutely up to you. And what I want to try and do, and with the support of Power, is try and give a bit of a guide. So if I'm doing a certain weight, I'll go like, this is intermediate, this I think is advanced, this is beginners. Again, the idea is just giving everyone a chance to take part in it.
Yeah.
So it'll be stuff you can do at home, because that's what the Power app is about, or it can be something you can follow in the gym. There'll be videos on there, and again, I want to make it a real community feel to it.
And it's something I think as we go towards a kind of new year, the pod's shown a massive growth the last few weeks. I think that's obviously with having guests on and things like that, new sponsorship. So it might even be something where we pick Patreon back up again and start that community a bit more with the help of the workouts, the fitness, more shows and stuff. So yeah, if you want to get involved, there's your chance. Sign up to Comaletics. We'll follow them on Instagram. Get your 30% off first and foremost. Screenshot it, send it to Musk, and then Gary will
And literally, it's
do what he's been doing to me and get me in shape.
Working it out, as I say, you're getting £25 t-shirt roughly with your discounts. I think it's just less than £25. You get access to workouts that people are paying, a good few quid for at the moment. And if you get to Christmas and really enjoy it, then you can pick up that power subscription after New Year, which is again really accessible. It's on an app. So yeah, I think it's a good one for me because run up to Christmas, there's loads of excuses to not go to the gym, isn't it?
It also gives you
January
a 6 weeks head start on New Year, New
Yeah,
Me.
Exactly, yeah.
Rather than a New Year, New Me, you kind of like New Year,
just
last 6 weeks.
Pick them back up what we've done before Christmas. So yeah, I'm really up for it. And you know what? Even if we end up with a handful of people, it'll be adds accountability for me. I've got to get up and do it. Andy's got to show willing as well. So show Musk will jump in as well.
So on that, a little bit linked, and we will get into sport, don't worry, but I just wanted to say something that I thought was actually pretty important this week. So last weekend was Remembrance Day, always a really important day for me, not only to remember the fallen from the First and Second World War, but personally I remember lads I served with, and we remember them, but also selfishly it's a good chance for me to meet up with a lot of lads I served with, talking about the lads who we served together who are sadly no longer here. And yeah, I had an amazing day, really, really good day, one of my favourite days of the year. Not actually told anyone about this yet. I know we're going to have a chat later and stuff, but I actually reached out for the first time to the Royal Marines charity to get some help, and I didn't actually think I would be able to get help because I don't suffer with PTSD, I don't get flashbacks, not bothered in any way about what happened to me. I've coped really well. More than happy to talk about, as you know, what happened to me and things like that. None of that bothers me. However, probably the last year, I've struggled a little bit with my mental health. I think a lot of that was down to, turning 36. My mum was 36 when she passed away. I had this weird anxiety attack for the first time. 6 months later, my brother-in-law got ill, and then 6 months after that, he passed away. I don't know, I've just not felt 100% right. So I reached out to the Royal Marines charity, and I didn't actually think that they'd be able to help me because I don't suffer from anything to do with what happened to me. But actually, turns out, just being part of the Royal Marines, you still have access to that kind of help. I had a phone call last week with them, and I've got a kind of first counselling session to see type of what kind of counselling or therapy, if I need anything, I need. And I just wanted to say that for any military lads who are listening, I just thought it was quite apt that it was Remembrance Weekend, and it's also, I think, Mental Health Month. I think November it might be.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't have to be having snags from what happened to you, because I certainly haven't. Could talk about Iraq and Afghan all day. But just life sometimes gets on top of me with certain things that happen. So, yeah, I just wanted any other military veterans who are thinking that might be struggling, but it's nothing to do with getting injured. You still can reach out and talk to someone. I just thought that was probably important. Cause I didn't know.
Fair play, mate. It is, yeah. And for anyone, by the way, obviously,
I'm
say you're
sure
fortunate, you've been unfortunate, but
yeah.
you're fortunate to have access to that. But there are plenty of men's health charities and, general mental health charities, whoever's listening. And I can't advocate that enough, that it's important to talk. I've lost a couple of friends to suicide, and that's obviously where it gets to the point that they feel like there's no return. But fair play to you for doing that and being so proactive, because as you say, you don't.
But one of the things, mate, getting in the gym with you, that's massively helped me the last few weeks. And again, I know, like, we chat anyway and stuff, but reaching out and just speaking to someone professional was a big thing. So yeah, just wanted to get that out. The other funny thing that happened last weekend, on a lighter note, is if you remember last week, I said that there might be something to talk about this week. So.
Oh yeah, okay, now didn't know you were gonna bring that up.
So, well, I'll have to now, won't I? Because it's fucking been all over social media. So, last Wednesday, I think it was, so about 10 days ago, I get a message, a WhatsApp off Tom Cleverley. Now, I know Tom from a stag that we went on a few years ago, and we just kept in touch. Really nice lad, good laugh. And he just said, "What are you up to?" I was thinking, what the fuck is Tom Cleverley texting me for on a Wednesday night? Anyway, spoke to him the next day. He's now manager of Plymouth, and they're in a bit of a rut at the moment. And he said, "Look, mate, I'm wondering if you could come down. It's Remembrance Weekend coming up. I know you've got links to Plymouth from when we last spoke. Can you speak to the lads?" So I said, Plymouth's a bit of a mission away. When do you want to get me down? He said, "Well, we're playing Huddersfield on Saturday. We're staying in a hotel in Leeds on Friday. Could you come over to Leeds and talk to the lads?" So I went over there, spoke to the lads, spoke to all the staff, and had a really great time. Done my best Al Pacino Any Given Sunday speech, and thought, this is brilliant. Everyone loved it, the staff loved it. All the lads sent me a few nice messages, had really nice conversations with them. Happy days. Left them all Friday night in the hope that, they've turned the corner. I obviously told the boys, but I said, I'm not going to post anything on social media unless they get the result, because, it possibly doesn't make me look great if they don't win. And 10 o'clock Saturday morning, I get invited to collab on a reel. And the reel's actually really good.
Very good,
it's really good. So it makes me look half all right. And I'm thinking, fuck, I'm going to have to tell everyone now. So I accepted the reel, and it, got a nice few messages and things like that. The big pressure then comes at 3 o'clock. I'm thinking, please.
Everyone put them in the fucking bet. Absolutely messed me up. I even went double chance thinking, just get a draw.
I didn't.
Yeah, fair play, mate.
Yeah, I went for the Holy Grail, done Southport and Plymouth. Anyway, they got beat 3-1, absolutely gutted. And then they played on Tuesday and got beat 1-0 in a 94th minute winner.
Showing that resilience right to the last whistle.
It didn't quite work. I don't know if that says anything about me as a motivational speaker.
Wasn't Tuesday the FA trophy though?
Yeah, the EFL trophy.
I doubt any of the people who you even talking to were playing in that game.
I'm not sure.
Like most of the kids, I imagine.
But yeah, I mean, was it down to my crap talk or just maybe not good enough? I don't know. Maybe anyone who's heard me speak can
time will tell.
Make their own judgment. But great experience, and you know what? I mean, listen, I spent a few hours with them, but the staff there, they've got some really experienced staff there,
They will do, yeah.
I think the goalkeeping coach, or it might even be the assistant, or one of the assistants, was assistant to Brendan Rodgers when he was at Leicester. And Ranieri. So there's some good people there. Great, massive club in the southwest. Just wish them all the best. Wish Tom's a really good lad. Obviously, young coach. I think he's only 37, 38. Young coach. I think it's so easy to just jump on people when they're not doing that well. You forget that it's a 37-year-old fella and just starting out in his career. So wish Tom, the lads, all the best.
He started really well at Watford. I mean, Watford is an impossible.
Mate, yeah, they were telling me about that.
You don't need to lose a couple of games, and the owners just.
The owners are terrible.
They're ruthless. Yeah.
They were telling me about that. Not Tom. A few of the staff just saying like it was a really tough job. They've done really well, but yeah. The culture from the top down was...
Well, that's just their model, isn't it? They just literally turn managers over or coaches or whatever every 6 months, and that's how they believe they can stay in leagues and stuff, which is mad.
So if there are any other football teams who want the AG treatment, and I can get back on winning ways then, because before that, I'd done a talk for England. They got to the semi-final, which was the best since 66. I'd done a talk for Forest Green. They got promoted.
Fair play to Dave Keenan and Zanzi for resisting the temptation to bring Andy in. They turned the corner themselves.
Muskie, if Southport...
Wait now for the playoff final or something.
Yeah, if Southport ever find themselves in the relegation ditch, Musk, I want you to make one of those memes or reels where it's like break fireglass and there's like a picture of me, the Sam Allardyce one. But yes, that was my weekend. So I've done that on the Friday. Unfortunately, watched Plymouth get beat Saturday, and then Sunday was Remembrance Day. And you know what? It was such a great day, Remembrance Day, that thankfully I didn't properly watch the match. It was on in the background, but I was too busy reminiscing, telling Uncle Albert stories about the war to actually watch it that much. But do you want to get into Liverpool and Everton first? Because there is quite a few other little stories I want to get off. But
yeah.
Go on, let's do
go
it,
on
please.
Then. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not a cop-out. I did watch it, obviously, and I have seen the highlights, and I have seen the fallout, but it's probably probably less said about it, the better. I mean, it was just that first half, Man City. Was it Man City on fire or we were just shite?
I think if you allow Man City to get ahead of steam and control the game the way they did, I don't think it matters who you are. You're not going to win.
Which is mad saying that, because we've said all season, listen, not just us on this show, but pundits, that Man City haven't been that great yet.
No, they are vulnerable, but that's the point though, isn't it? You need to get at them. You need to try and hurt them quite early and almost get them on the back foot or get them thinking twice about the way they play. Listen, a big factor, I know Gary Neville apparently says it in commentary. I didn't have the volume on, I was just watching it. The Pep Lijnders insight clearly, influenced the way they played, didn't it? Let Kanate have the ball.
Do you know what? That's the first I've heard about that, actually.
Yeah, so basically, you can see it. You watch the game back now in moments. Van Dijk has the ball, no pressure at all. The minute it goes across to Kanate, they cut that ball back off.
Is that Pep Lijnders? Fucking hell, lad, I could have fucking told you that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
yeah,
all right, okay, whatever it is, but I think it was Gary Neville who said clearly there's been an instruction here.
Yeah.
So when Kanate gets the ball, let's go and press, and let's encourage them to get to they weren't. What they were doing is cutting off or putting a bit half pressure on Van Dijk, so the pass has to go to Kanate and leaving Kanate in loads of space.
Kanate probably feels like, when you're playing paddle with a shit partner and then they just keep
the ball to him.
Yeah. He was woeful again, wasn't he? Well, again, tactics.
I mean, even for the header, he
I know.
just doesn't even get close.
What's he trying to do? Flick it behind him?
There's that, but then there's for the penalty, Bradley's got that covered and he goes and tries to boot the ball away and it's Bradley and then goes into their possession. We lose it. I know it was a dubious pen, but we lose a pen because of him just getting overexcited and not realising or seeing my mate's got that sorted there. He's got that boxed off. He's going to usher that out. It's job done.
But yeah, no, and you say, Andy, just to go back to a point you just made, though, you don't have to be Pep Linders. You can't tell me going into the season you thought Kanate was an absolute liability. It's only been a recent... Okay, for everyone else, it's been, if we've got Kanate and going into the season, Kanate and Van Dijk, solid.
I think
it's just
I thought he was all right, yeah.
And it hasn't been every game. He has had a couple of games where you go, that's the Kanate that we want, but it's just so, like,
it's not been
inconsistent.
as frequent.
But there are some pundits who, like, I know Cara, I've heard him say a few times, he's not 100%, thinks Kanate's all that.
I've never been convinced, but Liverpool as a fan base generally, as the season, I've been, listen, Van Dijk, Kanate, solid. Obviously, you'll have the odd game, and he does look a lot more erratic than Van Dijk. I think anyone looks more erratic than Van Dijk, but it's unravelled in a massive way.
Listen, I don't want to harp on too much about it because, listen, we were outperformed massive. But that referee, there's something dodgy about him. That referee, lad, he's fucking... I'm sure he was the one who done... was he the one who done the Arshavin handball as well? Not Arshavin. No, Arshavin fucking 20 years ago.
Is he Alex probably?
The Odegaard one.
Odegaard one.
I'm
sure he had something to do with that game. He had something to do with the Doku on McAllister. Where he studded him in the chest. Listen, I'm not going to be like conspiracy, but he's a terrible referee, and I'm sure a few United fans would have having a go at him because he's done a bit thingy for Man City as well.
The thing I thought was mad was that during the game they put up like the actual rules for like giving an offside, and none of the things that came up actually ended up happening. So like, yeah, he was stood in an offside position. Yeah, he did move, but he actually moved away from danger, like moved away from the ball. He did it so that the keeper wasn't impeded. The keeper had already decided where he was going before, like, well, he could clearly see the ball. He wasn't in his eye line. There was all these things that were saying this is why offside gets given, and none of them were Andy Robertson.
But the reason why that goal should have been disallowed is Van Dijk headers the ball. The keeper can see Van Dijk heading the ball, so he can see the line which the ball is then travelling in and goes to dive.
His dive wouldn't have been any different.
Different. Robbo is in the way, so ducks. Doesn't affect the flight of the ball. If the ball hits Robbo and then goes in the other side, yeah, clearly an offside goal. But he didn't do any of that.
Or if he's in between the keeper and the line
and
of
he's
the ball.
obstructing
But there's a good, however
good.
many seconds there is, I think there's a good maybe, 10%, 20%, 30% of the flight of the ball before actually he's obstructed. So he's already saw which way it's going. Yeah,
we had it against Tottenham, and like from a certain angle, it looks like the keeper's being completely hampered. And it's like anything, and if you look at me and you from this angle, it looks like I'm right on top of you. But you look at it from there, there's a clear gap. Against Spurs, they didn't look at the only angle that made it look obvious that the players were nowhere. Well, they weren't interfering with the keeper when it gets.
I'm not going to harp on too much about it because we were crap. I think.
I know, but the thing is though, that could potentially then be a 1-1 at half time and not a 2-0.
Well, that was
and
same as us.
It could have been
down. It was 1-1.
I know that Liverpool were shit as well, but if you can get into half time and it's 1-1, then some of the mentality might be different, the team talk might be different. Coming in and going, you know what, we were shit there and it's still 1-1. But when you're going out and it's 2-0, you've got to chase the game. You're going to be a lot more vulnerable as well.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But I just think he was kind of like outclassed tactically. Whether that's with the help of Pep Linders, whether that's just Guardiola being Guardiola. I think this comes down to the manager, I really think that, listen, I'm not calling for him to get sacked or anything like that. Not a chance. But he's got to start earning his payback now, because he came into a team. I was trying to think of some analogies, like trying to make light of it, but it's like it's like he's been inherited like a really like a Lambo or something like that, or like just an amazing car. Maybe not a Lambo, but a really good like Aston Martin or something. And it's great, and it runs great for a year or something, and it's got to go for its first MOT. And rather than like fix the things it needed to get fixed, he's just kind of went and just
the wheels off and all that.
Yeah, and he's just
put
made,
some subwoofers on there.
He's just made like proper cringy changes to an Aston Martin. You know what I mean? Like put a big exhaust on and it makes big loud noise.
Spinning alloys.
Yeah, like put a disco ball in the thing or something.
Disco ball.
He's had exhibit on the case.
Yeah.
He's just made wholesale changes.
Lowered the suspension.
Yeah. He's had a classic Aston Martin he's inherited, and he's just made wholesale changes when it's come for its first year MOT, and none of it's worked. So he needs to start figuring out how to get this classic car back to life, because you look at all the great teams, Ferguson, for even Klopp's 7-8 years they had. Name me a successful team where they just brought 5 or 6 new players in and went, you're all going to have to play together now. The great teams have made little tweaks. Look at United over the years. They brought in like a Van Nistelrooy. You know what I mean? They might have made 1 or 2 changes. Like, no one's ever, they brought in a great centre-half, Jaap Stam. Now, I can't ever remember a time where they just changed 5 or 6 players.
Is that his fault, though? Is that all his fault? Not,
where does the book stop, though?
Well, we heard, obviously, through the Klopp interview, the transfer committee and this, that and the other. I'm not saying Arne Slot didn't want these players, by the way. He's been very clear to say, I wanted him, blah, blah, blah. I think he's good enough. And I think you look at the list of names, nobody, individually was in the summer going, that's a bad signing.
No, everyone was putting Liverpool as even
clear you're right, but that's not. I don't think that's I don't think that's all him.
I agree with you. Right.
If the transfer committee would have turned around, or the management team would have said, look, the way we're going to do it is we're going to make 2-3 signings. We're going to strengthen in these 3 positions. It's going to be centre back, number 10, centre forward. That's it. That's all you got.
I agree. Right. Listen. In some ways, he was kind of, whether it's the transfer committee or him, in some ways he's been forced to make loads of transfers, because obviously Jota sadly passed away. Diaz wanted out.
Harvey Elliott's gone.
Harvey Elliott, wasn't getting game time, wanted to go.
Saying that, we didn't.
There was a few of them that wanted to go, so he had to bring in at least 4 or 5 players anyway, and then maybe opportunities came up to buy 1 or 2. So I get he had to buy 6, 7 players.
But it was his decision when he put them parts in.
Exactly.
And that's the thing.
That's where it comes down to him. Whoever's idea was to sign the players, great. They're all quality players that he brought in. But lad, it's not on John Henry to say you've got to start them every week. That's on him.
Yeah.
And that's where Klopp was strong enough to be like, Andy Robertson's not ready yet.
Yeah, and everyone uses that example. I think it was a bit easy with Andy Robertson because he was, from Hull.
He's done it with Gakpo though as well.
8 million. No, that's what I mean. The other examples are probably more
prevalent. Yeah, but
do you mean because the players are becoming in thinking I should be starting?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Andy Robertson was walking in the door going, "You've signed me for 40 million. I need to go into that team," or I've been the best player, best left back in the Premier League, or one of them. Like Kirkes maybe was.
I know where you weren't Klopp's biggest fan, though, Gary, but you've got to admit. And
I weren't Klopp's biggest fan because he was your manager.
But what I was going to ask though is someone who maybe didn't like him. And again, I've never met Slot. I don't think we all know enough about him yet. But is he a big enough personality, and does he have that persona enough the way Klopp did, where players are a bit fearful? Because I don't think he has. I don't think, although Salah threw his toys out the pram a few times under Klopp, I think there was a bit more like, fucking hell shit, that's the manager than it is. For example, Salah under Klopp, Klopp was like, listen, unless you're Messi, he's come out and said it, unless you're Messi, if you play in my team, you have to defend. Salah's running back and forward. Salah turns round to Slot in his first season and goes, by the way, if you want me to score loads of goals, I'm not defending. And Slot said, you know what, yeah, sound all right, you do what you want. And fair enough, he won in the league. But where's that kind of respect where you go, right, you're the boss, you do what he says? Because the little toys out the pram Salah's had with the rotation and the social media stuff and all that, has Slot got the kind of persona and the personality to keep them all in line?
In May we were saying yet though, like, because we were going, he took Trent off. Trent wasn't happy. He said, Trent, yeah, sound, you can go. We were like, because we'd won the league, we were saying he'd done all of those things right though. Because we were like, his tactics, more often than not last year, he was making all of the right calls. So even if he's not like a big shouty fella, you go, he fucking knows what he's talking about.
I agree. I don't think it always has to be that fear factor in that way. I think
sometimes you can impress your players so that they go, he knows what he's talking about, he's doing what's best
Well,
for
that's
the
what I was
team.
going to say. It's generally a cultural thing, and the Dutch aren't known for being angry over the top. They're known for being quite arrogant, but also adding themselves. And like, this is Louis van Gaal, for example, at Man United. He's an intimidating figure without being angry. He was like witty with it, wasn't he? But Rooney said he's the best manager he's ever played because his tactics were unbelievable, and he earned the respect through that. And also, he's obviously got a coveted, massive trophy cabinet as well.
I just think, though, knowing from, if you look at when Liverpool have been successful, I know they have been pretty much for the last 6-7 years, but when Liverpool are on it, Salah is on fire, right? Listen, he's got a big ego. He's one of the best players the Premier League's ever seen. I get that. I just think now, seeing Salah, the dip in form, it's been probably his biggest dip in form in his Liverpool career, hasn't it, really? The manager doesn't really know quite what to do with him, doesn't really know what to do with the formation, doesn't know what players to start. Probably nervous about dropping him for what he's going to, the impact I think Salah would have on the team, from what the fans would say, the pressure. I just don't think he's managing the situation well, and I don't think Salah's helping him with that either.
Can't disagree with that.
Yeah, I think those two things can be true. They don't have to be fearful of him, but I also think that he's a little bit scared of what might happen if
as you
this
say,
happens.
it's always easiest to make them calls, though, isn't it? When you're winning things and you're 9-10 points clear, and the fans are loving it, and you're racing to the league. When the chips are down, though, I don't, and that probably sounds like I'm really twisting the knife here. It wasn't difficult to go back to the basics, was it, of going, those three players need to play in the middle. Everyone was saying it.
Well, we said it last week, but we
Villa
done that though, didn't we?
Madrid.
But it's like he kept the players that we all said. I think literally on last week's pod, I said
keep the same team,
which he did. But tactically, he was just outdone massively.
But also, the disadvantage of that, though, is you're sitting there, Guardiola, going, I know exactly who's playing today.
Yeah.
I know exactly how they're going to play, because they've had a nightmare run of 6-7 games where they haven't won. They've won 2 on the bounce with this team. You know exactly who's playing, and you know exactly how they're going to play.
I would put my head possibly on the chopping block here and say, not that I don't think it will happen, but if it was me, I would ditch Klopp's 4-3-3 and I would start being a 4-3-1-2. I'd keep the back four, i.e. Robbo and Bradley, Kanate and Van Dijk. I'd keep the midfield three as Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister. I'd play Wirtz just in front of the 3 in the 10, and I'd play Ekitike and Isak up front. I'd give Salah a rest from the team, and I'd swap Gakpo with...
Equally, Salah can play in either the 10 or the 4 position, can't he?
Yeah.
You can play in either of them.
But I just think they need to ditch this 4-3-3 for a number of reasons. I think they've got too many players in too many similar positions that there's too much talent, I think, that needs to be on the pitch that just isn't fit into that formation 4-3-3. I think the league knows about it now as well. Do you know what I mean? You see now football change every couple of years and things like that. It's got a bit more physical now, a lot more set pieces. Things do change. A change is sometimes as good as a rest. Liverpool have just been known to play 4-3-3, Salah bombing down the right, cutting in, normally Gakpo or Diaz on the left, blah, blah, blah. I just think if they change it and they went up to a 2 up front, just 2 big, strong, powerful, fast men up front, with the likes of Wirtz just behind them, pulling the strings, and then that engine of the midfield 3. Why would that be so crazy to change? And like you say, alright, yeah, Mo Salah might not be on the right as much, but drop him into the 10 role and swap him with Wirtz, or put him up front with Isak or Ekitike. I think that'll be just as good of a team as the 4-3-3, because, listen, you look at the league, we're 8th, we're on par with United. So something needs to change, because it's not fucking working, is it? So yeah. Just shit. I couldn't believe we've actually got a goal difference of 1 + 1, same as United, same points as United, same goal difference as United. So the last thing I'll say in the pool is, obviously that's the league done. Even if, you know what, it's funny how fast football changes. Last week I was thinking, you know what, beat Madrid there, we beat Villa, I can see us beating City, I can actually see us going unbeaten for the rest of the season. I was going into that game thinking that.
But then also, how were you feeling when Arsenal then dropped 2 points that we weren't expecting them to drop on Saturday? And it's like, fucking hell, if we win tomorrow, then we're even closer than we thought we'd be by the end of the weekend. And then just that one game makes you go, nah.
Nah, we're so off it. But I think, listen, Champions League run and maybe the FA Cup and a top 4 finish. Because Chelsea don't look too bad either, by the way. So yeah, enough about the Reds. The Blues, surprise victory. I mean, it was going to be always
surprise victory. Wasn't a surprise victory.
All right, that was a bit
Might
harsh.
have been a surprise victory for you.
No, it wasn't actually.
You
I don't know
might
why
have been surprised, but no one else was.
I think that's just my subconscious baiting.
It was a big game. Like, you were obviously, it was a big game for you. It was a big game for us for different reasons. We were in a similar position in the league. We had a run of indifferent results. So it was an important
And by
game.
the way, Marco, so I like him. Good manager.
Yeah, I do. I've always rated him as a coach. I think he's had a tricky period at Fulham because he hasn't really been backed. I think the only signing he made was some Brazilian who's never played in any league like the Premier League, let alone the Premier League itself. So he hasn't really been backed in the market. And they look like a team that have been underinvested, to be honest. Now, there's been a lack of investment for. But I'll be honest, mate, we battered them.
Did you?
Battered them. They were poor, but equally we were at it from the get-go. And in fairness, and I said this on the podcast last week and on our own podcast, we have been, at it from the start in a lot of games. We just haven't took our chances, and fortunately, we did at the weekend, and it should have been or could have been 5 on another day. 3 goals disallowed for narrow offsides. One of them, and I wasn't even in the play really, or wasn't involved in the play. So
I mean, Fulham had 0 big chances there.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the XG doesn't reflect the 3 disallowed goals because obviously they don't get counted as chances.
You had 1.5, they had 0.4. So
yeah, but no, we battered them. They were miles off us on the day, and but yeah, it was still one of them. I think it was right at the end of the first half that we scored the first goal. If it got into half time at 0-0, there definitely would have been some nerves that crept in. But fortunately we got the goal, and yeah, it was a.
Say what, Moisey might have been listening to this pod. He didn't make the change until the 79th minute, lad. He's
well, you know what? That was more.
He pushed it 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was more a reflection of the work rate. And it was a big call, by the way, because he's dragged Barry off, really early against Sunderland. He's had a bit of a strop quite publicly. Changed his Instagram to him sulking on the bench.
What is it with them all these days?
Which he's made light of since, but still, it was still a bit of a fucking risky call.
I get pissed off with stuff like that.
Do you know what might have happened there though? The lads might have took the piss out of him.
Well, basically, he said I was laughing at myself. He said because all my teammates.
If I'm one of his teammates, I'm printing that out and putting it everywhere.
They were all. He said all my teammates were sending pictures to me. He said so. I kind of took the mick out of myself and put it on. But anyway, it was a big call. He started them again, and to be fair, the lads played well. He plays well against Sunderland, and I said that, but he's missed that chance, and that's a big moment for him. But he scored, but it got disallowed for offside against Dindai, not against him, which is unlucky. But he put a shift in, really worked hard. Good movements off the ball, some good touches, and the fans appreciated it. I think he took a lot of heart from it because he got a real ovation coming off at 80 minutes, because the fans could see that he worked hard and he done everything but hit the back of the net. So it was a positive day all round. Obviously, nice to get a clean sheet. Michael Keane,
you got the lottery numbers for this week, lad.
As I said,
how mad is that?
Perfect.
Keane gets his head on Everton. They've not been great at set pieces. Get any spare money you've got on Keane, first or any time.
And he nearly did score first, by the way, as well. It was a disallowed goal. He heads it, keeper saves it, makes a great save, and then Tarkowski scores, but it got disallowed. So yeah, that could have been first goal as well, which would have been.
I think when I said before surprise, and again I didn't mean surprise. What I meant is, well, yeah, like you alluded to, it was a big game because I think Fulham there, and now only a point off the relegation. Again, I think there's probably not many Blues that did think about relegation, but if even the most pessimistic of Blues are probably looking at the league table going, there's probably 5 or 6 teams that are much worse off than used this season.
Yeah, and I think that performance on Saturday is where we are. We're not, so we're not a top 5, and probably not even a top 8 team, but we're considerably better than quite a few teams down there. I think Leeds now are looking worse every week. Burnley are struggling for goals, and they're leaking goals as well. West Ham's still relatively inconsistent. I think Forest will be all right because we know what Sean Dyche is like, and he'll pick points up. So, yeah, I think there's a good few teams down there.
I think those teams, you've got Wolves, Forest, West Ham, Burnley, Leeds, Fulham, that are all below you that I think you'll finish above, and I'd even go as far to say maybe Brentford in as well.
Yeah, I think I'm not convinced by Brentford or Brighton on a consistency basis. So we could easily.
So there's 8 or 9 teams that you know better than.
Yeah, and as I said, I think going into or coming out of Saturday's game, it was either going to be a case of us looking over our shoulder or looking up the table, and thankfully now we're looking up with what is it? What are Sunderland's on? Sorry, Sunderland's on 20 points. 19. Yeah, we're 4 points off Sunderland. Obviously, closer to the top 4 than we are the bottom 3, and I think you just took that going into this international break.
I think, what did they say, like 40 points is safe, you think about it. So Sunderland are, let's say...
Yeah, I think they're halfway, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 25% away through the season, and they're already halfway through to the points they need, so...
Yeah, fair play. Really impressive start by them. And again, we were disappointed with that draw. Relatively disappointed given the drop. But they've drew with Arsenal and took points off them, so it doesn't look like a bad point now.
Just in general, on the likes of the league, can you see Chelsea doing much this season? I didn't realise how kind of close they were to the top.
Do you know what? They've just slowly gone about the business, haven't they? Like, they've dropped some points. Obviously, they lost to Sunderland at home last week. Don't think there was a better time to play Wolves, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they
lost to United, Brighton.
That's what I mean. They seem to slip up. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But I think they're just being slightly more consistent than the likes of Hughes and Tottenham and United.
Yeah.
So they might just creep in there. I think, do you know what? If you look at those top 3,
I think that's staying there. Added and then
I think they're the most balanced squads. If you throw in the mix all the issues you've had with trying to to bed in those players, Chelsea have got a relatively stable squad now. They've had that squad for the best part of 18 months.
And I think they're used to the rotation, aren't they? That they all do. I think they're kind of getting used to it a bit more now.
What's his name? The Brazilian kid who's come in, Estebao.
Yeah.
He looks unreal.
Yeah.
He looks unreal, and so they've kind of sprinkled a few extra players in there, haven't they? But I think their issue, to be honest, is probably just the back 4. They've had a few injuries at centre back, and I think if they had a consistent couple of centre backs, they'd probably be. To be fair, I couldn't name their back 4. Well, it's bloody Adrabio Tosin.
Yeah,
on a free from Fulham. He's like the main centre back, which for the money they've spent, that Badia Shaley hasn't really settled in properly, has he? So I think they've struggled with getting a couple of consistent centre backs. And what's his name? The English lad who's always injured.
Chalobah.
What?
Chalobah?
No, not Chalobah. He's been playing alongside Tosin, but it's the other English lad. Remember his name though. But yeah, anyway, it's
just, I know we don't normally talk much about them, but the clubs in the Championship. But I just thought it was a mad story this week. Rob Edwards leaving Middlesbrough and going to Wolves. Wolves are absolutely destined for the Championship. No 2 ways about it. And Middlesbrough are having a great season. The second in the Championship, 5 points off the top. I'd say an absolute shoo-in for the playoffs, at least, maybe even automatic.
What I mean by I don't know is Rob Edwards knows his squad, doesn't he? He probably knows the capabilities of his squad. And I think the Championship is so... we know anyone who has a bet knows how unpredictable the Championship is. It can flip within 2 or 3 games. And I think he knows...
I agree, everything you've just said. However, I'm a betting man, you're a betting man. If someone said to you, what's got the better chances, Middlesbrough getting promoted to the Prem or Wolves surviving the Prem, it's Middlesbrough getting promoted.
But if Wolves go down, it's not Rob Edwards' fault. So he's getting Prem money for now, getting locked into that if they get relegated.
Well, that's what it comes down to, though. Is he moving for money? Because
probably. I mean, he's probably doubled his wages.
But his wages are going to go up if he gets promoted with Middlesbrough.
But mate, that's a big ask though. It's still a massive ask to get promoted with Middlesbrough.
But it's a bigger ask though. It's a bigger ask to get Wolves
I would have you a
saved.
bet now that Middlesbrough don't even get in the playoffs.
Right. 50 quid?
Yeah.
Sounds.
Yeah.
They will definitely get the playoffs.
Look, get the Championship up for me. The reason I'm saying that, you've got Ipswich, who haven't even come out the traps yet. Southampton have just got a new manager. They're miles down the table. They've just got a new manager. You've got Birmingham, Leicester. Mate, there's teams there that are going to improve and going to get better. I don't think Middlesbrough get in the playoffs.
Well, listen, that Rob Edwards must have a fucking crystal ball.
Yeah, I'll go back again.
I think it's...
You see, so they're on 29 points now.
Yeah.
So they're basically only in the playoffs by 6 points.
No, listen, I get that. My point is, it's a much harder task keeping Wolves in the Prem than it would be.
I don't think he's.
I don't reckon
I
he's-
don't think he's.
Really?
I don't think
No.
one, he's expected to do that, and I don't think two, he's expecting to do that. I think he's thinking, I'm going to go in now. If I win a couple of games between now and January, we get a little bit of investments. He's probably saying to them, look, I can help you prepare for the Championship, and I can get you back in second or third.
Lad,
within a
they've
few
got
months of
2
being there.
points.
I know. I'm not saying that's the job though. I don't think he's been brought in to keep doing the Premier League. I think he's been brought in
Because he's
to reshape
he's a
the
top
squad.
Championship manager for when they get there.
Is Wolves a bigger... Middlesbrough's a bigger club than Wolves, is
No.
it?
No, I wouldn't say so. No, no.
31,000
Attendant-
capacity Wolves.
Attendances wise, I wouldn't say so. History, definitely not. No.
So Wolves have got
No-
a 31,000, 34. Similar.
Stadium.
Stadium-wise, similar.
I wouldn't say Middlesbrough are a bigger club than Wolves.
Interesting. On football, to keep it on footy for a minute, one thing I thought was interesting before we'll touch on England. In fact, we'll keep it to the Hill Dickinson, our sponsors. You had some news about some... you allowed to say that?
I don't know.
All right, we won't say it then.
I don't know what it
I
is.
don't even know
Oh,
what
the
it is.
Euros, sorry.
Oh yeah, no,
No,
yeah,
that's out.
yeah, that's
That's
out.
out.
That's
Oh, is it?
public,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
public.
Still, that's good, yeah, for the
Yeah,
Euros.
brilliant
Hill
news
Dickinson.
for Hill Dickinson, brilliant news for Everton, brilliant news for the city. I think the council jumped on it straight away and like put a big like council logo over the stadium saying, you know, is it 6 games or
I'll
5
have a
games?
little look
Muskie's
now.
gonna find out. I think it's 6 games.
Be great, that.
Finishing with the quarterfinals, so they've been given the quarterfinals, which is again a big boost for the city, and a good
Brilliant.
moment, good vindication for how good the stadium project's been.
96, obviously, was the last time we had Italy play Czech Republic at Anfield. Last time I kind of the
class that,
Euros came. On that, it kind of segues into what I was going to say. So on the overlap this week, they've got a lad there who, big United fan, and you can give him any date from the 2012 season.
I've seen this fella before, yeah.
Yeah, and he can just say the score and the
Who scores and all
scorer.
that.
So it got me thinking, apart from big obvious ones like finals or like Liverpool or 4-0 Barca, is there any particular game where you just know where you might not have been at the game, but you know where you were, what happened, who you're out with, and for just some reason it just sticks in your head?
Yeah, David Moyes' first away game, we played Derby and we won 4-3. And it was a great day. I was 17, might have even been 16. And I remember it was the first away game where I'd had a drink. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't have done, obviously, but I did. On the coach, had a few cans and all that. Ends up going to an 18th that night. It was my mate's cousin's 18th, so he was a bit older than us, and we kind of sneaked our way in there and had a drink. But it was a brilliant day. Alex Anderson scored, Duncan Ferguson scored. We were 4-1 up at one point, and it was like, this is unbelievable, because we were obviously struggling under Walter Smith when David Moyes come in. The first game, we beat Fulham, and then we went away to Derby and beat them 4-3. But it was 4-1. They got 2 quite late, and it got a bit nervy, but brilliant day. I can remember.
Mad
every minute
how
of that
your
day.
missus would ask you something last week and you wouldn't have a clue, but yet
I
you
know.
remember that so well.
Yeah, honestly, I was only talking about it the other week, but yeah, great day.
The 2 couple ones that I got, I always remember Torres' first goal against Chelsea. I was in the 80s in Bootle. I remember thinking, oh, we've signed a good player here. I think we won 2-0 that game. I can't actually remember the score, but I just always remember me and my dad standing there with my mate Kev. And then the other random one I remember the dark days of Roy Hodgson. I was in the Lineker pub on Lineker Lane.
It's great.
I was with my dad and my mate Kev. I was on crutches at the time. I must have had an infection in my leg. So I was sitting down, because I never sit down in a pub. I was sitting down watching, looking up at this telly. Roy Hodgson's managing us. We're away to Newcastle. Get beat 3-1. And Andy Carroll scores like a 25, 30 yard goal. And I remember, thinking, I'm done with footy for a bit. Like, this is making me unhappy. This, like, obviously I'm a bit older now. Like, you just, whatever. But you know when you're a bit younger and it affects your whole week. And I was like, I am putting too much emphasis onto this fella called Roy Hodgson, because this is depressing me, this. And I had a little bit of I didn't have a season ticket then, and it was just a bit of I'm just going to just leave this for a minute, because it was infuriating. So yeah.
See, I'll try being an Everton.
know.
Do you know what? Weirdly, around the same time, the Hodgson bit, I remember we were playing against Blackpool away, and I went to watch it on Alton Road somewhere. It was absolutely pissing down.
Didn't they beat us?
Yeah.
3-1.
And again, I was like, this
Was it
fella,
3-1?
fuck off. I can't even remember the score now, honestly.
Charlie Adam has a boss games, didn't he? And he ends up signing him.
Well, Andy Carroll, he had a good game. We signed him next season.
It was that season when they come up weren't it, under Holloway, and they were just like,
Yeah, must have been that same season. We signed both of them.
When Alex Ferguson said something like, "I'd pay 10 million just for his left boot."
Didn't he end up? Well, he flew out the traps, didn't he? And were like right up there, and ends up going down because he didn't stay in the league, did they? Or did they? I feel like they went down that same season, but it felt like they're the boss season. Do you know what I mean? Because I think everyone was just expecting them to bomb.
I don't know whether it was that season, but I always remember United doing fucking what United did. It was either in the league or the FA Cup, and they were beating United, and then in like the last 10 minutes, United come back and beat them 3-2 or something.
Yeah, I can remember that as well.
But anyone who's listening, please, comment on YouTube or Instagram if you've got any moments where you can just remember where you were, who you were with, what pub you were in, what happened after it. Because I just think it's mad how fellas can go to the supermarket and can't remember what the missus had told them to get 20 minutes ago, but yet can remember the booze they were in, the lads they were with, the scorer, what happened, the weather, what they were wearing, where they went, where they ended up, what time they got in from football matches 20 years ago. I think it's hilarious. So let us know your memories.
By the way, Everton have got 5 games. Well, the stadium have got 5 games. So it's got 4 group games and a last 16 knockout. One thing I didn't know was that it's not allowed to be called the Hill Dickinson Stadium while it's on.
Really?
It's got to be called the Everton Stadium because you can't have sponsorship.
Wow.
That's interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting, yeah.
I think everyone will know by then, though, won't they? But
yeah. No, that.
And also, I think...
Good to hear from...
no publicity is like bad publicity, so you can... It'd be great if Hill Dickinson do a little thing and they go like, come down to the Everton Stadium to watch this, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. But it's on the stadium though.
Yeah. Work out well for them, won't it?
Definitely.
Some of the stories this week I thought was really interesting. Not as big as fan, but Piers Morgan had Novak Djokovic on his show this week. I've not seen it, only seen a few of the clips. But I thought it was good of Piers Morgan. Listen, we're all wrong now and again. And just apologise when you're wrong. I was very adamant over COVID, mainly because I fucking lost a fortune. But I was a big not like an anti-vaxxer, or not that I didn't believe in it, but I was a bit like, this is
cynical.
Very cynical. And I think I was proved right in how the world behaved and acted since. Novak Djokovic, I think, was absolutely done a kipper. I think it's shocking, by the way, what happened to him. He could have won the Australian Open and I wouldn't say cemented his legacy. I think that's already been done, but he could have went even further ahead. I think he's actually tied at the moment with Grand Slams, actually. But he could have actually went out on his own or even went further on his own. But he wasn't allowed to play in the Australian Open because he refused to get a COVID vaccine. It's since come out that obviously it's not... there was a time where the media was saying you're not allowed to travel the world unless you get this vaccine. Clearly, that's not happened. Anyway, it stopped him from playing in the Australian Open. Piers Morgan came after him, called him selfish, called him this, called him that. Clearly, it was wrong, and Piers Morgan's apologised to him, which I thought was decent of him. I just think it's a bit sad for Novak that he didn't get to play in the Australian Open.
Definitely. Just while we're on it, Muskin, I might need you to Google this as well. There's a couple of Argentinian players who are not going to play in their game. I think it's against Ecuador or somewhere like that, because they refused to get a vaccination for like a flu vaccination or something.
Yeah,
I
think it's yellow fever. I think in South America.
But they basically said they're not getting it. So there's like 3 or 4 players that are missing the next qualifier. Yeah.
Well, Novak come out and he said, "Look, I'm not anti-vax. I'm not pro-vax. I'm pro-choice. It's your body. You do what you want with it." Yeah. So it was good anyway to see Piers Morgan apologising.
Alvarez, Simeone and Molina, they've all pulled out.
That's interesting.
They're all Atletico players as well, aren't they? I think it's the manager basically.
Possibly.
Alvarez, Simeone and Molina. Yeah, they're all Atletico players. Strange one.
What I think was interesting as well, and I'm not saying this is why Novak's got the stance he has, but the other big talking point was Novak came out and he said, "I don't think it's fair that Sinner, who got done for doping, only got a 3-month ban, and that 3-month ban conveniently
it was in between all the Grand Slams.
In between all the big Grand Slams." By the way, I think Novak's got a great point. Something needs to be looked into that, because Novak was saying there's some smaller players who haven't got maybe the reputation who would have just had the book through at him.
Well, what's his name? The English player who he wasn't doping, was he? I think he was caught doing cocaine or something like that. I would say doping. Obviously, it can be a performance-enhancing drug. What's his name again? He was a lesser player, but I'm sure he got like 6 or 12 months.
Yeah, well, it's double standards. So Novak, I think, was saying, number one, it's double standards. But I also think there's a little bit of Novak in the back of his head going, hang on a minute. I wasn't allowed to play in the Grand Slam in Australia because I didn't want to take a vaccine. Yet this lad's doping. And you've kind of put his fine, you've put his ban so he can play in it. And he's also, I think, looking at it going, this kid's going to be around for the next 15, 20 years. He could potentially take my record.
Yeah. And if it's by one Grand Slam in his hair.
So I think there's a little bit of that in it. But listen, he makes a great point. I think
it does go back to the fall from grace chat that we had a few weeks ago, where it's like, depending on who the player is or who the athlete is, it's like we can't really lose them from this, because if they're out for too long, then eyes will go somewhere else or whatever, and in their own best interest is to keep those.
That's a great point, that much.
Yeah,
I think tennis is in maybe a peculiar time where
they've lost all of the big
the three big hitters that were the big draw. Who's going to play? Federer, Djokovic, Nadal. They've all gone. They've got this new rivalry, simmering away with Alcaraz and Sinner. And then suddenly one of two of the poster boys gets done with doping and gets a 12-month ban.
Money talks, yeah.
Alcaraz is just smoking everyone every week. It becomes less enjoyable to watch because you know who's going to win.
You want the jeopardy in sport, don't you?
Yeah, and there would have been no jeopardy if Sinner wasn't about, because Alcaraz is just smoking everyone. So yeah, I think Djokovic has got a great point. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing as well, before we talk about boxing, I don't know the full ins and outs. One of the viewers, I can't remember. Sorry, your name. Sorry, I forgot your name, mate. Someone tagged me on the post, and then I tagged you too. Emma Raducanu has been invited in to speak to the England rugby team, was it?
Yeah.
Why?
Ahead of the New Zealand game at Twickenham, wasn't it?
Why?
Don't know.
Whose idea was it to go, these 6'5", barely strong men need Emma Raducanu to come in and do as a motivational talk?
I don't know. I would assume it was something to do with like...
It's got to be airside,
yeah,
surely.
But it would have something to do with, I don't know, some kind of branding or commercial thing, wouldn't it? Like, there's probably a couple of players or here who've got the same, might be all Adidas, I don't know, something like that.
I hope it was not more than that.
Oh, definitely.
Some of the South African players came to Anfield the other week because Adidas had invited them.
Yeah, it's
really?
definitely something like that. Because I mean, I looked at the comments and we weren't the only ones who was twisting.
The more and more I look at when like the comments on any Emma Raducanu,
it's become a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, it makes me sound like I'm a stalker or something. Not that I'm like but when I get tagged and stuff like that, and I look at the comments, we're not the only ones who are saying this, by the way.
No.
She has become a bit of a, unfortunately for her, like I said before, good-looking girl, crack on with the modelling stuff, but she can't be spoken about as a serious prospect in tennis.
Top athlete,
no,
yeah.
She's a top athlete, but top echelon of tennis players.
And she seems to be losing us money a lot now. There's people in that group who are just trying to bet on it just to wind you up. I know, in our
little betting group, I know. It's not happening with her. And then just before we finish on boxing, mate, I rarely comment on stuff. If I do, it's something I'm passionate about or maybe feeling a bit riled up. I hate haters, right? And I very rarely comment anything negative. Do you know when we sort of...
I feel like there's a book coming here. Go on.
No, right. Very rarely... I hate haters anyway and very rarely comment negative stuff. But I don't understand why people do. So last week we spoke about Phil Neal. Even as the staunch blue that you are, any football fan would say Phil Neal, what a legend, 417 consecutive games.
As a footballer or a football fan, yeah.
So every loads of likes and comments on the reel, and I just was having a little flick too, right? And some fucking knob, don't even know his name.
He was a United fan.
Don't know.
Do you know what? We did have quite a lot of United or Villa, or there was other fans going, yeah, you can't deny.
But one fella put good effort. I went to work for 15 years on the run. Something like that.
Someone says,
do you know what I mean?
But how many European trophies did you win? That was a great comeback.
But you just think
he's definitely a man, Kim. I'm sorry.
But why are you watching a stat about a football player that was at the top of his game, won all these trophies, and went, well, I've worked for fucking Manchester Council for 15 years. No one said that about me. Do you know what I mean? Fucking stop being a hater. Just fucking give them the flowers and move on. Fucking gimp.
Unless you're Andy hating Emma Raducanu.
I don't hate those who hate.
But you do know there is negative. You put negative.
There's negative around the fucking media shitstorm around that saying she's great. You know what I mean? Anyway, finishing off on a bit of boxing. I'll be honest, I'm not feeling this Eubank fight. I mean, I'll be out. One of our mate John's birthday, so we'll be out.
I wouldn't be feeling it if I wasn't feeling the first fight. Basically, I felt like this way about the first fight, and it was brilliant. And I'm like, I didn't think it was a good idea to run it over again.
But I think they'll run it again. I
can't not watch it after how good the first fight was. I think this second one has got to be the end, one way or the other, because like,
will it fuck? Benn will win, and they will run it again in Saudi for even more money. I think both fighters know that their careers
might just be a bit of a perfect little simulation, mightn't it? To go, yeah, listen,
well, yeah,
I'll let you have this one.
Yeah,
we'll then both get and
mate. Stranger things have happened than that. I just think you look at those, but I mean, listen, I'm not the biggest, boxing nerd, but it's like if you look at their individual careers and you go over the pundits are saying none of them are really expected to do anything great in their own weights, are they?
No.
This is the biggest thing that they're gonna ever do in their career. So why not run it again for a third time in Saudi for even more money? I think, yeah. Listen, I'll probably watch it half pissed being out on the Saturday, but I won't be like I won't be enthralled by it, put it that way.
Yeah, I still think you can't. I don't think you cannot be interested in the whole drama around it. I know it's like I guess unnecessary because.
Do you know what I hate though, Gary, about life? I just hate how, and it kind of in a way comes on to the next point I'm going to make. I just hate people getting things that they haven't worked for, like, or they haven't sacrificed for.
I mean,
they are living off their dad's names. There's plenty of boxers who are far better than them.
They're getting this particular fight off the dad's names, but as boxers, I think they've done everything in the gym that every other boxer.
I was going to say, mate, you can't, like, particularly Eubank.
The training that he does is
the weight he's having to lose, whilst also trying to be in peak condition. There's some sacrifice going on there, mate. I'm sorry.
Not saying that they're not sacrifices or they don't deserve.
And he nearly, pair of them nearly put themselves in an early grave in that first fight, as probably more so Eubank, and he's obviously made a bit of a thing around not being able to get to hospital quick enough and all that, but I don't think after watching that fight you couldn't think that they both put their life on the line.
I'm not saying that. Listen, once the bell rings, fucking hell, pair of them are warriors. I'm not denying that, but I'm saying to even get them in that ring in the first place and get all the money that came on the back of it was nothing to do with what they're doing.
I think it's certainly if I was a boxer who didn't have a famous dad and I was putting in them hours in the gym and stuff and not getting that recognition, but that's sport, isn't it?
No, and that who's the lad who's just won? The black lad who just beat Canelo. Bud, what's his name? Crawford.
Terence Crawford.
Have you seen his earnings, mate? He didn't start earning the big dough until his last few fights. It wouldn't surprise me if Conor Benn and that have made more money than him.
Probably, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the thing that irks me, but I'm just like, which comes on to the
same
next.
People have been saying that about McGregor though, wouldn't he? Not necessarily he's got no ability and all that, but they've been fighting. There's probably a lot of mixed martial art fighters that are better than McGregor but haven't made the money because they're not that personality and they're not.
I don't know what you can say about him because at the time, no, he did beat everyone. He did beat the champ and he was the first one to become the double champ. So when he did start taking the piss with like his other fights and stuff, like the Mayweather thing, he'd completed the UFC, if you like.
I think with the boxers as well, though, it's probably as promoters have looked into things like viewing figures, ticket sales, stuff like that. And if those boxers are making more for them and bringing in like more eyes through social media, they go, well, we've kind of got to repay that. And it's not saying that we like it, like we like it, but that's just the way that it's one of the reasons why footy players get paid so much. It's because the eyes and all the money that goes into it, the players get the rewards from it. It'd be interesting, I think, to know from a kind of impartial, fair weather kind of viewer whether they're actually looking at the fight itself or they're looking at the kind of circus that's going on around
Without a doubt, it'll be the latter.
Because even things like, have you seen the hydration, the weight clause? If he doesn't get below a certain weight, Eubank forfeits £1 million.
Yeah, it's what's 500 grand for every part of a gram or something, isn't it?
Now that to me, it's.
I think it was a half a bag of sugar or something. I remember
0.1 grams or something.
Nick Pete put something out. Oh, might have been like a couple of teaspoons or something. He's like, he's lost $500,000 or I think it was $750,000 because of this amount, and that's how small it was.
See, that's where I think is a bit of a joke. And I heard someone say it on TalkSport this week. It's like if I'm fighting someone I want them to be at the best. I don't want someone after it to go, I never done that. Well, I would beat you, but it's like being on, in sports day when you're in year 5 and 6 and you go, if I had me Nike trainers on, I would have won, or if I had me Reeboks on, I want you to be at your best. We can go man to man, you at your best, me at my best, and let's see who wins. All this hydration clauses, weight clauses, and if you don't do this, you're getting fined £1 million. And yeah, that to me makes me not like it, which is the next bit. The AJ Jake Paul fight looks like it's happening.
That's pathetic.
That to me, and again,
I said before, I hate it. Listen, it's brilliant for Jake Paul in the sense that, like, I know you're saying, he doesn't deserve to get this and whatever, but for whatever reason, he's living the absolute dream.
Oh, God,
he's made a fucking absolute multi-millions out of social media being a bad ming. But now he's turned around and went, you know what? This is what I want to do with my life. I'm just going to go and fight everyone. And all I do every day is get up, look after myself, keep myself ticking over. I'll just call people out on social media. I'll go and make tens of millions of pounds from it, hundreds of millions probably in this instance. And I'll have a legacy outside of social media. There'll be young people now who see Jake Paul as a boxer.
The thing I don't like about it personally is you get two options to kind of... So AJ and Jake Paul, pinnacle of the sport. Well, you could argue AJ is, and he's somehow lucky enough to share a ring with him. Going to get paid tens of millions of dollars. There's two routes to get there. You get in the gym at an early age, perfect your craft, work hard, climb the ladder, act like an absolute bellend for 10 years on media, on social media, and then kind of get up there. I don't like how the message that sends to young people, because you can either, do you know what I mean? It's just like a kind of cheat code to, I want to act like a bellend in public, be really disrespectful, just be a fucking tit. And if I do it right and I get my social media quite right and I get a bit of a following, I can just start calling people out. I don't like that about it. The thing I was going to say on that as well, it's a little bit like, have you seen him? And by the way, this is an amazing achievement if he goes on and does it. But I think with social media now, rather than work hard at your job, whatever it may be, I think social media's allow people to create a kind of online presence where you can kind of just skip the queue. Spencer Matthews, he was on
Made in Chelsea.
Yeah. Not that I watched that, but from what I see about him, just a bit of a lad, bit of a top shagger, bit of a pisshead. Like, I mean, I think that's what his...
That's what he was growing up.
That's what he was, right?
Yeah.
And that's how he's gained this mass following, right? Now he's turned around and went, don't drink anymore. Yeah. I'm a fitness fanatic, I'm doing all these challenges, and you can be like me too. And I feel like going, lad, you've made your following of being a wreckhead. And now you're telling everyone, now you got to follow me, dude. I don't like all... Listen, I get people change for the better and great and good on them. But like...
But he's not changed for the better, gone off social media and done it for himself.
It's almost been orchestrated. I want to act like a massive wreckhead, top shagger, and bit of a lad pisshead. And then someone's kind of went, hey, we can capitalise on all your followers here. Get them fucking reeled in, get them running again. That's so great what he's doing.
All these products will get behind you.
Yeah, and it's just, and Jake Paul's the same. Someone's went to him, hey, you know what, Jake? Fucking, you got a massive following here, loads of kids like you. If you start getting in the gym a bit, start calling out a few boxers, I'll tell you what, a few of these skimp boxers, I'll fucking have a fight with you, And I don't know, I just don't like all that kind of jump in the queue bit. I said it before, I don't like haters, I sound like a massive hater, don't I? But hopefully you know what I mean. Anything else? Should we touch on England for the last 5 minutes?
We can do, yeah.
Yeah.
We can do.
Are you going to watch it?
It's just an interesting circus around Bellingham at the moment, isn't it? Like, he's come out, I think Tuchel, and said that basically Bellingham and Foden can't play in the same team.
Yeah, I must have that before,
Obviously, Morgan Rogers has been the shoe-in so far in that number 10 position. So it is going to be somewhat interesting, because you can't say now that every game now they qualified is a bit of a opportunity, isn't it, for them to see. And listen, that's big news, regardless of whether you're an England fan or whatever. Jude Bellingham is probably up there in the top 5 most famous and biggest footballers in the world. Anyone outside of England or outside of that camp will be saying Jude Bellingham's first name in the team sheet, because he's one of the best players in the world. But interestingly, there's a good chance he's not going to be in that team.
I think that's good news, that though, you know, because you look at
Yeah,
other
sure.
England managers where they've tried to kind of get
shoehorn
everyone in the team. It's not worked, has it?
They've ducked that decision and went, well, I've got to play him because the public want him to play.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's just got to happen. And I like his comments, to be fair. He said, look, like the team is the most important, and my job here is to try and get the best results next summer. And if that means not playing certain players, then so be it.
And you know what? Rather than shoehorning everyone in, it looks like on the 60-minute mark, you're just going to be getting like swaps, Bellingham off, Foden on.
So with
you know
what
what I mean?
you said before, so I'm just going to take it back around because you don't like talking about England. Tuchel goes, amazing performance, wherever it happens, whether we win it or not, next summer, manages it perfectly. Would you have him as your manager next season? Right now, sitting here right now, I'm making that assumption that things stay as they are with Arne Slot and Tuchel has agreed.
Listen, if Liverpool don't finish maybe fourth or something, don't do nothing in the Champions League, I think there'll definitely be questions over Slot. Would I have Tuchel next season? I mean, if I say yeah, it sounds like I want Slot out, doesn't it?
The reason why I'm saying is obviously you've said the biggest criticism, the way he's managed this situation with these big players coming in, feeling like he has to throw them in. He's almost done the opposite, hasn't he?
It's a great question, yeah. I think, do you know what? Yeah, I think...
Because there's not a lot of... The reason I asked that, it only comes to me then, there's not a lot of candidates out there right now. I think
you pose a really interesting point, because if Tuchel can go to, let's say England win the World Cup, and he does it with loads of big names, and he just has a set formation and go, listen, playing them, it's almost what Liverpool will have needed for this season.
And they still might need next season, because
yeah.
those players still, you've got a German in there, he was your record signing. You think, German coach comes in, know him, know to get the best out of him.
Isaac and Ekitike are both really young. Yeah. Salah will be on his way out if he hasn't already gone by then. I think the comparisons...
Get your money on Thomas Tuchel, Liverpool manager.
You know what? Well, I think that's a great shout. If England win the World Cup or do well...
If England win the World Cup
and Arne Slot does crap,
yeah.
hopefully fucking need it happen. No, let's hope England does win. Enjoyed this, boys. Not bad for a quiet week.
One more thing. Every order over £75 at the moment, you get a free hat, is it?
Free cap, yeah.
Free hat. So winter's obviously here. Nice warm. You get one of these and get a free hat with it. So.
Loads of reasons to get involved with the latest sponsor, Cumuletics. Go follow them on Instagram. 30% off. Like Gary said, 75 quid you order, you get a free hat. And also, if you screenshot your order, send it into Musk on our Instagram. We'll get you into our little fitness group, and we can all be looking stacked for the new year. Boom. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. Please like, comment. Please, does mean a lot. Send it to your friends. It's growing every week, which is down to you guys. So thank you very much, and we see you next week.